All right, thank you all for joining. This is a TAM Lab 121. This is the VCF async patching tool, and we're gonna do this in offline mode, meaning I'm gonna like basically pretend that my SDDC manager does not have internet access and no chance of using a proxy server. Um, in this scenario, I'm using my laptop to be the one that downloads all the bundles, and then you'll copy everything over to the SDC manager and promote that patch up. So let me stop the PowerPoint. And let's go ahead and do this full screen. As much full screen as you can. All right. So this is the video, right? What we start here is how to download the async patching tool, as we're all still learning the new Broadcom portal page. So I logged in with my account, went to my downloads, went to VMware Cloud Foundation, went to 5.1 because that's currently what I'm on, 5.1.1. And then you go to drivers and tools. And there's the async patching tool. Let me just pause that real quick. The other tool here, the bundle transfer utility, that's or sometimes called the offline bundle transfer utility. That is how you would, if you were like a dark site with no internet, that will only download the bill of materials. So that would be like if you were doing 5.1.1, you would get whatever versions of vCenter, ESX, SDDC Manager, NSX that came with that version. The async patching tool is for the stuff that's basically out of band. So in this case, today, what we're patching is the vCenter from 8 update 2B to 8 update 2D. So yes, you can see in my downloads, I accidentally downloaded this 3 times already. So next, I'm going to go ahead and launch the 7-zip to uninstall or extract it. And in my case, I'm going to extract it to the C temp folder on my laptop. And I'm going to do a VCF async folder. And later on, you'll see where we actually download the bundles to C temp async bundles, like bundle download. I'm keeping them separate just because later on in a future step, you have to upload the async tool and the SDC manager to a separate folder than the downloads. You can actually, point it wherever you want it to, but the async tool, they want it in a certain folder. So I'm just trying to keep them separated.
Joey, can you say that one more time? What's the reason?
So later on the steps, I'll bring it back up. But when you're in offline mode here, so I'm downloading everything on my laptop, doing everything. I'm pulling the bundles from my laptop. Later on, you're gonna have to like WinSCP those files to the SDC manager, and they want the async tool in a certain folder and the bundles in another folder. So I'm just trying to keep them separated, so I'm not like just moving things around without a reason.
Got it. Thank you.
And I'll post the links to this document also in the YouTube video as well. There is an online mode where you would just do everything through the SDC manager and it could download the bundles. But we're just doing the offline mode. And I'm actually going to show you an error I get here in a minute and explain why I left it in the video. I'm using Windows, obviously, and usually Windows is not case sensitive. It caught me off guard on this command. So now I'm going to go to the folder where the executable is for the async tool. The first step is you're actually going to connect to the depot and you're going to list all the patches. So that's what the list async patch and what your, in this case, my joey.ware@broadcom.com is my like Broadcom portal username, which would, formerly your VMware Customer Connect account. And you see it errored out. It's like, okay, well, thought I did it right. I tried again without the .bat. Let that go through. And you're going to see it's going to error out just as well. And really, the only change I made was, if you notice in the command on the left, the A and the P in async patch are capitalized. That's the only change I made, and it worked. So just be, cautious of that. If there's a Linux machine, I totally understood, but Windows, I was like, oh, didn't run into that before. Now I'm running into it now. So now I'm just going to just basically copy it. And as you see, the only change I made was the capital A, capital P, and it's now going to go through the next step. There is a -- proxy server that you can also put in if you do have a proxy server. That will work for online and offline mode. It always asks you this, no matter how many times you run this command, or different ways. Are you using the latest version? Are you okay with the customer experience improvement program? Yes or no, it's up to you. And there I put my password in. So now I got a list of all the patches in the depot for VCF, right? Whether it's vCenter, the ESX, NSX, NSX Manager. So the next step is, now I want to tell it I want to pull down that certain patch. In this case, it's going to be that vCenter. I'll highlight it and show you why. And here's that, Daniel, here's that step I was talking about here. The -- SKU VCF. If you are a VCF on VxRail, you do the VCF _on _VxRail. And then you also have to put in the Dell EMC Depot email address.
Yeah, JP was mentioning something about the partner bundle switch. Is this what he's referring to in the chat?
I'm assuming that is.
If you're there, JP, I just want to clarify since you typed that.
Yeah, apologies. I didn't see him enter the partner bundle switch, so I'm actually surprised to see the VCF on VxRail bundles listed. I thought when you just did it pure, that command, it would not list the VCF on VxRail, but it looks like it is. I definitely know that there is a time when I'm downloading the bundles proper or the manifest that I need to use that partner bundle switch.
I don't know if that's also new in 5.1.1.
Yeah, could be a delta. I'm in a 4.5 environment as it stands.
Yeah. And just on the video here, so what I'm showing is that version build number for update 2D, and I just confirmed that's what that build number is. So at this point, I'm saying I want that bundle. And I'm going to apologize. You're going to see some blinks where I have to basically cut out where stuff takes forever to download, because I don't want you guys sitting here for hours with me. But yeah, that's what those will mean. So now I'm, confirming I'm using the latest version of the tool again, put in my password. It's saying it has downloaded or has found it. And now here's another error I'm running into, is I didn't have enough space on my laptop to download the single bundle here. And that's why it errors out. So again, I'm kind of showing you what you might run into, some reasons why. It point blank says right there, disk space insufficient. So what I'll end up doing here is I'm also looking, like, I didn't put it in the right folder I wanted to as well. So there is a -- output directory, which I highlight. I wanted that in a certain folder. just to make it easier later when I need to upload it to SDDC Manager. So yeah, I just cut out there, freed up a bunch of space on my laptop. I'll run the command again with the output directory folder, which in this case, I put in the C temp. I think I put it C temp. You'll see async downloads or bundles. There it goes. So now, again, it's going to ask me to confirm, am I using the latest version of the tool? Am I okay with CIP, my password, all that. It gets kind of redundant after a while. So that's where I'm kind of excited about the next version when it comes out. Maybe we'll have this and we can do a follow-up on it. So again, now it's verifying that I have the space available to download the bundles, and it starts downloading. I'm now logging into the SDDC Manager, just kind of showing what I have in place here. I actually, from my last video where we upgraded from 5.1 to 5.1.1, I actually rebuilt it as a fresh build of 5.1.1 just for this lab. But everything is currently on 5.1.1.0. And I'm just going to show here that the version that comes with 5.1.1 is actually the ending 993 build, which is the update 2B for vCenter. Later on, after everything's completed, I'll verify and show you that's now on the build for update 2D. And some of the steps it goes through, and I'll talk about that, is it once you upload these to the SDDC Manager, it wants you to make some permission changes, and it actually asks you to confirm that you did that, and then it does it again itself. So I believe I cut out here in just a minute because it does take a while to download from my house. As you can see, I'm getting like 2 to 3 megs per second. Cut out, everything's downloaded. So the next step is now to upload the async patching tool and the bundle that I downloaded to the SDDC Manager. Here, I'm just verifying that the default password I'm using is the one that William Lam's build script uses. Even though I verified that, I typed it wrong several times, as you'll see in here. Somehow VMware one bang gets a little difficult with my fingers. So now I've opened PuTTY and connecting to the SDDC Manager, logging as VCF, and it tells you that in the instructions on the left. And then you copy the entire directory for the AP tool bundles that we did the separate folder on. Here, for example, it says you can copy to any location, but I just went with the example, the NFS, VMware, VCF, NFS mount, AP tool bundles. Now I'm launched WinSCP to copy the folders over. It's very simple. I mean, if you're following word for word here on the instructions, that's all I've done, and haven't ran into an issue that wasn't my fault so far. And JP, you are correct. I did not show that in here. I did not do a pre-check. I should have done that. But since in my case, in my scenario, this was a fresh build within like 30 minutes of me running this. I probably should still done a pre-check.
If I may, I don't want to hijack your session, but my experience has been with this pretty extensive with this tool. And more often than not, when it fails, it's because I fat fingered it. It's very, very sensitive to syntax. It's very, very sensitive to the step where you are in the process. I would recommend that you create a checklist and you check these things off just like a surgeon would during the operation. It's so easy to fall off the tracks and lose track of where you are in the process. And that's been my challenge with the tool if I'm being charitable.
No, you are being honest, and I like it. I agree. Everything I've done so far, the errors was me basically fat fingering the password and locking the root password out. I think that's why I kind of cut out here and come back. But I actually had somebody that was moving over to TAM. It was actually in support or an PSO and like a resident that showed me their script for this. And said, yeah, basically what I'm doing here on the left, they just like they have to do this so often with customers that they just had it in a script file where they can just go to it. And I agree with that.
It's not a scalable approach, right? In an offline environment, I'm in a D&D dark site and we have multiple VCFs, and to be able to do this across multiple VCFs takes days to weeks. It's not a small engagement, and we are just in the midst of trying William Lam's what did he call it? There's a way of creating a web server to create a depot for these bundles, and that's what we're going to try, because it's just not scalable as it is to use this tool in multiple VCF environments.
I agree. I saw that post and I thought about trying that out. Here, I'm also copying the async patching tool to that home VCF async patch tool folder. Again, I'm having issues. I just can't click and shift click for some reason. Okay. Copying that over. And then I need to go do the permissions on it. So the next step is now to enable that bundle that we downloaded on a laptop and copied over to SDDC Manager. So we have to launch the async tool and tell it what product we want it, which is that version, the SDDC SSO username, which is in this case for me, it's my lab, just the administrator at vSphere Local, the SDDC SSH user, which in this case is VCF. So here we launch the tool. We want to enable that patch. That's what -E. The patch is this vCenter. And this point, again, I don't want to fat finger it. And I started looking up, I'm like, oh wait, that was not this putty window where I add that version. It was in the Windows command prompt where I was initially running it local. So I'll switch over and copy. So next case, I went, okay, I want the vCenter :802, whatever. It needs to be just like that. So now you put in the SDC user, the SSO user. In my case, administrator vSphere Local. Then it's the SSO user. I'm sorry, the SSH user. In this case, is VCF. And then the output directory. So this is now where I've uploaded it to the SDDC Manager, which is going to be that NFS, VMware, VCF, NFS mount, AP tool bundles. And then the last option is the dash IT offline, telling it this was all offline, so it needs to not worry about trying to connect to the depot and all that. We've already downloaded the bundles. It'll ask you again, are you using the latest version of this tool? And then have you performed all the requirements? In this case is, if you had done a previous async patch, did you disable it? Because you can only have one at a time. I'll talk about that at the end. The next thing is it wants those passwords for the SSO user and the VCF user and the root user. So in my case, the VCF and the root is the same password. I typed it wrong. I've got an error, so that's what the error means. Doing it again. VCF password, root user password. And like I kind of said earlier, it wants you to verify you did those permissions, and it goes through and does it again. It's almost like that was probably an issue in previous versions where that was not being done. The last here is to enter in the SSO, the administrator at vSphere local password. So now it is going through, it's asking, it's going to enable the patch workflow. It's recommended to perform a pre-check only workflow before patch enable. This helps identifying users of potential pitfalls. So kind of like what JP said, right? This case, I said, yes, let's go. So now it is taking that patch bundle and verifying that your VCF environment is good. It's going to do a backup of your current like LCM configuration. It's going to then enable the patch. Here you can see it skipped downloading the bundle because it already exists because we already downloaded. It goes through and validates the bundle again. So a lot of the steps that it's going through is basically just kind of making sure we don't mess up the environment. And I think I have to cut out here in a minute because it was taking a long time. You can see the timestamps in the config. Any questions while this is still running here? Okay. The next step after this, as you'll see, is now you'll log into SDDC Manager, and you will see that there is an update for basically all your workloads that have a version of vCenter that can be upgraded to this. I left some of this in the video just so that you guys can see the process that what goes on while you're waiting.
How long did it take you, Joey, to do this? I know every environment is different, but how long did it take you to do it?
If I had not locked out the account, it probably would have took maybe 2 to 3 hours. My problem was this home lab. When I did a fresh deploy of VCF, I put it on some slower disks and didn't realize I had done that until after the fact. So it could have gone faster, but it did take me, rough case, I think 4 hours altogether after applying the vCenter, which is what we're going to do next. in this video.
Okay.
Of course, hopefully our customers are not running on old hardware with slow drives. So going through the video here, it's just telling you the current upload status, so you know it's still working, which is good. It didn't get hung up. And again, like I mentioned a while ago, it takes a backup of the LCM files, or in this case, the YAML, before it puts like the new patches out there. And that's one of the reasons you want to deactivate the patch at the very end, because it'll clean up these backups.
Will the deactivate of the tool delete the
No,
bundle?
what, and I'll talk about that at the end here, but as you can see, I think it's step 11 on the left over there, where async tool to deactivate the patch. It does not delete anything from the async patching tool that we copied over. The bundles are all still there. The patching tool is still there. It just cleans up what we did here, creating the backups for the LCM, all that. It takes that patch away from the SDDC manager as an option. And really it does that, and JP, you can confirm, so that if, let's say, update 2E ever comes out or whatever, you don't have 2D sitting there still waiting to be applied. You'd have to remove it first and then upload E and enable E. So if you just clean it up now, you won't forget later.
I'm embarrassed to say that I don't remember running that particular step. So I'm curious and I'm worried. Number one, I'm worried. Number two, I'm curious if maybe again it's a different procedure with 4.5 versus 4.5.1.
Yeah, it could be. So now in this case, everything's uploaded, and I logged into SDDC Manager, went to my workload management domain, and as you can see, there's a little bubble with a 1 next to it, right? And as I scroll down, I do have the addition drift patch. I'm not going to worry about that, but this one right here, the software update 1111, and it tells you it's the 8.0 update 2D. This is another part where it takes a long time. This is your standard vCenter upgrade. It does take a while, especially if you put it on slow drives. So kind of just showing, this is almost like the same process as you would do on a normal VCF. Here, I just wanted to call out, yeah, you're seeing like 8 errors. With VCF 5.1.1, you can run off an eval license right off the bat. Previous versions, you had to have a valid license to even deploy VCF. And again, William Lam, he posted that in his 5.1.1 upgrade or updated scripts. So it helps immensely in my labs, because now I don't have to worry about trying to find keys right off the bat. Okay, so now I have told it, hey, yes, I want to patch my management domain vCenter. These are the steps that you would go through. You just tell it to apply it, and it says, did you do a backup? Of course I did a backup. This is a lab. I would always do a backup. In production, please do a backup. And here you can watch as the steps it's going through. This is one other process that took probably an hour to hour and a half. I think it actually tells at the end to upgrade this vCenter. That started about probably 9:15 p.m. I'll cut away and come back here in a second, but you can actually launch like the VAMI, which I do here, and you can actually see the installation in progress. should cut out again here in a second, just to save everyone time right now. What I do not show in this video is upgrading the VI workload. In this case, it was the WLD01 domain, because it's the exact same process. You just log into that one, or you log into SDDC Manager, you choose that domain, and you just basically do the exact same thing we just did here. Now this update activity window only will make a change when there's something here that it needs to make a change. So that's why I'm showing the VAMI, to show that it is still working, even though I wish I would have shown the time. It was probably closer to 10:30 by now, when I finally got to like 80, 90, 100%. The funny thing is, I was so excited. I was like, oh, it's done, right? Went back to here. Yeah, it's still got to do some more steps in the SDDC Manager. I reloaded just to make sure. So click the view status. You see it's still in progress. I was like, okay, I thought you were done. I'll expand the window here in a second, or update activity, and show you that it's here. It's, it looks like it's hung up. I'm like, oh man, what's going on? Well, in a second, I should expand that VCF M01. But I'm just verifying. I'm like, hey, why is it taking so long? The VAMI says everything's done. Expand it, like, oh, post validation, upgrade post install vSAN ACL update. So it is still working. It wasn't hung up. But it goes through those two fairly quick once it's finished verifying that they install. So there it goes. So yes, it took me an hour and 34 minutes just to upgrade the vCenter itself. That is just because of my home lab. So just going back here, just verifying that, that it's up to the latest version. Here, I'm going to highlight that, yes, it's on the 9136, which if you go back to the build numbers and versions, you can verify that's update 2D. Go back to the document that tells us what next steps are. After you've upgraded all your domains, which, your management domain, your workload domains, each one has like its own vCenter. You want to do this step 11, which is disable all the patches that we just pushed, right? I assume that's just because if you go through the steps again, let's say to upload some other patches in the future, it just makes the process easier or process cleaner if you don't have existing patches sitting there. So in this case, I think I cut away in a second, and I do the workload domain vCenter just to do it, make sure everything's good, but I didn't need to show it because we already did it in a different way. And then I come back and run that last command. And Monica, what I did here is actually I let that run overnight and verified in the morning that it finished the workload domain, and then ran this next step the next day.
Okay, good to know. So this step 11, you just disable the patch that
Yes.
you downloaded, but that's not delete or remove. So
No, and
if the customer has limited space, might be good.
right, they probably should. They probably want to clean it up if they don't do this very often. Maybe delete that async patching tool folder and the bundle folder. Because who knows if the next version of VCF will have a new version of the async patching tool or whatever, and you're going to want to do the latest version anyway. So it's probably good just to clean it up.
5.2 has it in the UI, no? So we just need to get there.
Yep. We just need that version to come out.
Yeah.
So here I'm doing that step 11, which is disable all patches. And all it needs is the SSO user and the SSH user. I typed something wrong here. Ran it again. Pretty sure it's probably the password. It goes through the process here and does the cleanup of the SDDC manager, kind of like the portal where it had all the patches listed there. It kind of cleans that back up, reverts the LCM backups, or not reverts, it cleans them up. So it actually deletes the bundle, but that's like deleting the bundle from the SDDC manager. It doesn't really delete the folder, if that makes sense. And all we're doing now is just waiting for the LCM service to come back up. I think I'll actually just scroll a little bit here because it sits there for a while. There it goes. Verifies the service is restarted successfully. Checks to make sure it's reachable. Deleting all the AP tool patches that was copied into the program or the SDDC manager itself, not the folder, but now it's taking a backup of the current config. Okay. And this really should be it. I just want to show you all what it looks like at the very, very, very end. And I saw your question, JP. I do not have any customers myself running VCF yet. There's some in the process of looking into it. There you go. That's the video. That's patching your in an offline mode VCF environment. So let me just stop that video. And let me go ahead and stop the recording. Thank you guys for joining.